Hi everyone, thanks for joining me for another video. Last time I did Cloud Riders series, a deep dive into that. I could probably add more to that. I still have my little dragon friend here. The desk that I have here is a French writing desk. It's over 100 years old. So if you happen to see the scarred surface, it's kind of deserves some show of wear and tear. Today I'm going to be talking about the Timekeepers Chronicles series. This is the cover that's been out for the past year or so. It was put out by Rushmore Press. I had decided to republish with this company because, I was looking for new cover art as well as the book trailers. And you can find the book trailers on YouTube. And I'll try to put links on it to this video. But the original covers, when I first put these out, were independently published through Amazon. And this is the one to Time Stealers, Timekeepers Chronicles. This is the first book. And this is the Stealers Hope Eternal, Timekeepers Chronicles, the book 2. So when I did the third book, when I finally got that out, then I had my daughter, does graphic design. She's done a few other of my book covers. That's when I had her help me put out another book cover, and to try to set a standard for the whole series, when I go back and republish the other books. So she put this together for me. I was very pleased with it. It's a very striking cover. It really fits the story, because this is where most of the story arcs are completed from when we started in the first book. But I love this, how she developed the style of the title. When you look at the T's here, that pointed downward type of style, that's a clock hand. And I thought it not only fit with the antique clocks that are in it and that sort of thing, it almost gives a mysterious, kind of dangerous look to it. So there is a new cover coming out for Time Stealers. In fact, it is out. I don't have it yet to show. I'm going to do an unboxing for it, but it is Time Stealers, Timekeepers Chronicles, Book 1. And it's going to have the same title banner. Of course, it is subtitled Timekeepers Chronicles, which is the name of the series. And it's got the dark look. It's got different elements to it. I was really excited to present that. And we're going to be working on, I don't know when it's going to come out, but when I self-publish the second one, where it's also going to have the same title style, they'll still remain the subtitled Hope Eternal, Timekeepers Chronicles Book 2. And we're trying to have, the look kind of fit in with this series. So you can tell they all go together. It's still in the works. I can't give a time frame right now when it'll be out, but I'm excited to be able to do that. So I want to kind of show you the history, what to look for. If you see these out there, these are the older manuscripts. Some of them are the first edition. I did get some help with the editing, with a wonderful lady from the NAWCC family, clock family, that encouraged me to pursue writing this story after I introduced the concept to her. She helped me with the title, and she also helped me with the original proofreading and editing, and until I could find an editor to help me out more. So what happened to start this story? They gave the inspiration to it. Some people might have read, if you read some of my author interviews and stuff like that, I may have already told this story. But I wanted to include it in, as we were talking more in depth about Time Stealers, how it all came to be. My husband works on antique clocks. And because of that, we have clocks all over the house. Maybe someday I'll show you how many we have. And our daughter Stephanie, who did the covers, is also helping my husband David, work on the clocks as well. He restores antique clocks. He also repairs them for other people, keeps them quite busy. You wouldn't believe how much business is in that. And we buy and sell clocks. We've added to our collection over the years. We are part of the NAWCC, the National Association of Watch and Clock Collectors. They have different chapters all over the country. There are some clock-based organization in other countries as well. So if you're in another country, look around. I'm sure you have some sort of national organization that has some uh, local chapters and everything. So the NAWCC, we have our local meetings, we have our district meetings, and during those meetings, there are, not only getting together between clock and watch people. I don't want to forget our watch friends. There's some fascinating pocket watches as well as fascinating antique clocks that can be found. During these meetings, there's educational type sessions. There's some fun sessions about history, the companies and the people that develop the companies and different innovation in the clocks and that sort of thing. And there's also a big showroom where you have people with tables and they have their clocks. There's buying and selling. There's talk about clocks. You see, it's an incredible world that you can walk into and just see the it's just it's hard to describe that feeling of walking in there and seeing everything timepiece wise. And oh, let's not forget the tower clocks. In Britain, I know they're called turret clocks, as well as their street clocks. They call turret clocks, but we call our street clocks. We also have the ship's clocks. We have unique versions of timekeeping. So in this series of books, the inspiration came from a district meeting. In fact, it was the Houston district, all Texas district meeting that first inspired me to start writing these stories. And it actually came kind of from a family bantering, family joke type of thing. Our son, who at the time, this is several years ago, was young enough to where he could go into the showroom in the meetings, and we didn't have to pay adult prices for him. It's the last time that he could go. And we're trying to get him interested in clocks to see if he when he was younger, he was always fascinated working with his hands, putting things together. We thought he might enjoy working on clockworks and help his dad out. So we took him down there and we started filling up the vehicle. It was a SUV size type vehicle with derelict clocks to try to refurbish or use the parts, for other clocks. We also, got parts and things, and we added some clocks to our collection. It was filling up, and we're starting to worry about, okay, where were we going to sit and where was luggage going to go? And my son is very tall and lean. He still is. And we were teasing him because we had bought two grandfather clocks with the mechanism and everything, and the mechanism and the weight and all that. And we had also bought a grandfather clock case. And we were teasing him with him being tall and lean. He could probably ride back in the case. And we didn't have to do that. We found room for everything. It was a very tight squeeze, but we all made it back. But that got me to thinking, what could live in antique clocks? What would it look like? What could it do to humanity to be dangerous? Where would they come from? And what group of people would be able to see these when nobody else could and possibly interact with them? So what kind of world would that be? That got me to thinking, and from that point, I started writing down ideas. And so all the way back from Houston, um, we were, I was jotting down ideas. I was writing the story was starting to come to life, for me. I think I'd mentioned before, I kind of see the story as like a video in my mind, and I'm trying to write the action down. And I was bouncing ideas off, of David as we're driving back. What could the characters look like? What the what kind of names and what kind of history behind these beings? How much will these humans that know them? How much will they know at the time? What will change so I can introduce this world to readers and so that the people that had known about him for a long time, how could they impart that knowledge to a newcomer? And how important would that newcomer be to a system that was status quo or appeared to be status quo? And that's where we start with the opening to Time Stealers, Timekeepers Chronicles. We have basically an evil keeper. I call the people that know about these aliens that live in the clockwork clocks. They're called time wraiths. They cannot live in electric clocks or battery operated clocks. They are repelled by electricity. So that's why the timekeepers, those are the ones that can see, and they are up to the point of the story starting, all male. They have lived for centuries, and I explain in the books how that happens and why it happened. And so we enter into this world of clocks where we have the secret organization of timekeepers. These aliens that the keepers, they kind of can communicate with the time wraiths at a very rudimentary level. So they don't know the whole story. They just know that they're there, and they know that they can be dangerous to humans because if a wraith interacted with a human, there's a time loss perception, but it can be dangerous whenever that happens. Let's say someone is driving a car and a wraith hits them, they lose that sense of time, they get distracted, they can get in a wreck. And imagine if you had other people that are in even more critical positions, like operating a nuclear power plant, a pilot in a plane, that sort of thing. You can see how devastating these creatures can be. So when we're talking about the time wraiths and their need for antique clocks is because they found that time wraiths could live in the clocks. They kind of intertwine in the gears of the clock to get power from the clock. So it feeds them. That's where they're able to rest and feed. If they didn't have that, then they would be attracted to the human heartbeat. And then that interaction between the human and the wraith would cause that time loss perception problem. Well, the good wraiths, they stick with their clocks. And their timekeepers try to keep the antique clocks going for them so that they have a home and they have a place for sustenance so that they don't interact with people. So the good wraiths know this, and the bad wraiths like to cause havoc. So part of the timekeeper, what they need to do is the good wraiths help them capture the bad wraiths and keep them in their timekeepers' vaults, which are huge geared places that entrap these bad wraiths. So I was a little bit, it was interesting when I tried to find the reviews to give me inspiration to, see where I might have, not been clear about a story or just kind of, they can be very encouraging. And I've had a lot of great encouraging reviews. I thank all the people that reviewed them. I try to put excerpts up on my website, which is authorpeakclaws.com. I've also got them kind of put on my highlights on my Instagram account, and I try to share them across the social media like Twitter and Facebook. And I found one. It was done. I didn't know it was there, so it had been done. I guess when this first was republished by Rushmore Press, and she you could tell, you ought to go read it. I think it's on Goodreads. And she gave me a three star, but she was very conflicted. And she was talking about how she really liked the story and all that, but there were some points that she just couldn't give it a higher rating than three. But she was, looking forward to the next book and everything. And some of the things she pointed out, one of them was, how I call bad Wraiths bad Wraiths. I don't give them a special name. I call good Wraiths good Wraiths. I don't call them anything special. And I remember the time when I was writing the first book, I was kind of like, wow, maybe I should find some name for the group and all that. But I was just trying to keep it simple because I am writing for all age groups. Whoever can read a book this size can read this book. And it's just straightforward. And it's just an adventure in sci-fi. Some people say there's a touch of fantasy in it. I've had some of my readers call it like a thriller. So it falls in different category. And when I was interviewed by J.T. Crowley on his podcast, and there's a video interview with him on Talking Books, he called it, kind of dark fantasy. And I have to agree with him. I've never thought of the full categorization of it, but I was just telling a story, and it's a very interesting to me to write it, to visualize it, to write it, to try to get the concepts across on what I was trying to portray in this fiction book, science fiction book, and so it's one that has captivated a lot of people. I've had a lot of people from the NAWCC. I've got some pictures with some of my readers there that when we that I'm going to try to figure out how to put in some sort of slideshow or video or something to show how much I appreciate their um, encouraging me, and they've been helpful in promoting it, especially amongst the NAWCC family. And I just really I enjoy talking with my readers and signing books and everything when I'm at those district shows. But it is something that I hope people will pick up. And I know the people that have read it from the NAWCC, they'll come back and buy more. And I'll be like, well, you already have a copy. And I've had them donate it to libraries, like small libraries. I've had them get them for their grandkids. I've had uncles get them for their nephews and nieces. And I'll ask them, well, how old are they? I say about 12, 13. So they feel it's appropriate for preteens. So it can be categorized as young adult. It's just a wide range of readers can enjoy this story. I've had a number of people that have mentioned. I have one family friend who I had help with the second book. Oops, wrong one. This one. Because we did some traveling in it. We went, I'm in the US, and they went over into Europe and to carry on the story. And I was asking her, I knew she was from Britain, and I needed her help, some of the terminology, some of the areas. And she was just wonderful in giving me advice on it. And when she always went back, she lives in the US now, but she always goes back to Britain every year. And one time after she had read, because I sent her, both of them so that she can kind of see what I was talking about, what I needed. And she helped kind of go through Hope Eternal to make sure I just didn't make some, weird mistake. But she said once she read it and she went back to Britain and she looked around and she noticed the turret clocks. What we'd call in America the tower clocks and the street clocks. She said, they had been there. She never really had noticed them. And that just really made her aware of them more. And I thought that was great, being more aware of what's already around us. And she also found some very interesting clocks that she sent me pictures on while she was there. And I was just so cool. And I've had some people do that too. JT has been sending me some pictures from his area. He's also in England. and he does some traveling around that area, and he sent me some antique clocks. I just love that. That's just awesome. So it has generated a lot of interest. I'm excited to see what's going to happen in the future for it. But I just wanted to share the inspiration, kind of where we're at right now with this. When I get the new version of the first book, I will do an unboxing video for that. Like I had done with Cloud Riders, I have some concept art. The problem, though, has been that it's been very hard for me to put down on paper what the wraiths look like. I describe them as very skeletal looking, kind of a solid dark misty looking. They flow like water. They go through solid the walls and windows and stuff like that. And I was trying with this concept to portray a wraith. You know, you can call them gaunt, skeletal, that sort of thing. And there's a lot more of the wraith that the keepers don't know. And I've kind of dropped tidbits through the series of books to fill out the wraiths a little bit more. But so here's some attempts, you know, in showing what these could look like. And I'm hoping that someday some artists can maybe give them life and show a little bit more of what I'm visualizing. So the mysterious time wraiths, and my attempt to try to portray them. So in the talking about them, like I showed you last time, my little dragon that I got. I put this together. I make what I call capsulated concepts. I have several of these. Some are like clock gears and stuff like that that can't be used for clocks anymore. But I try to put together one that can kind of show the smoky type of existent, kind of just not fully formed, kind of wrapped around the gear. And if you can see what I had written here, it says, shh, sleeping wraith. So that was my attempt to kind of show how they're sleeping around the gears. Of course, they have to be in movement for a real wraith to stay in the movement around the gears. But I wanted to kind of share that with you. Kind of a little fun I made for myself. That I'm going to add to my personal collection of encapsulated concepts, but I do have some that I put together with different themes that I have for sale, and someday I'll make sure share that with y'all. So just wanted to talk about time stealers, and I hope I filled in a little bit more about them. And if you have any questions, please leave a comment, and I'll get back with you. And I love chatting about any story. If you have a question about any story, whether I've presented it on this YouTube channel or not, please let me know. But thanks for joining me for another video. Have a good day.